Hello and welcome to. Oh, sorry, I forgot. You're here. Go ahead.
I don't know what I'm angry at. You're bastardizing my intro video or coming into the pod when the dad is here.
Oh, and he walks back in. He waltzes back in, and this is what we get at the beginning of the
podcast.
Moonwalk. Go for it. Go for it. You don't even know what episode this is.
Welcome to the Gooners podcast, episode 784. Was I close?
Season 6, episode 7, but that's all right. And it's been a few days since I saw you, so fuck yous. But Andy, welcome back again, and this time you have a shirt, unlike 45 minutes ago. We did our sound check, which is more of a picture check, about an hour or so ago, and he's naked, which.
Hey. Mike Hers said, "Are we podding today?" I wrote, or maybe Owen did. I wrote naked pod. I came to the party naked, and you were fully clothed.
I'm from the waist down, bro. The waist down.
You don't know what I got down there. An amazing week for you. An amazing week for you. Back-to-back successes. First of all, in the smaller of the two things, the deer are apparently to be feared. Now you're a Kroenke guy. You love the Kroenke sports teams, except the Denver Nuggets are not your NBA team, are they?
They are not. No. So as many people know, I moved to Wisconsin after leaving the great country of England, and I grew up close to Milwaukee. That's our all-star Giannis, who's a diehard Gooner, and I had season tickets for the Milwaukee Bucks. They were really good for a year, so a group of us said, let's get tickets, and we can split them, and we'll all go to the games. And I think we had 4 seasons, and maybe saw them won 20 games total. So in classic Andy fashion, I supported a team that's shit, and they finally won a championship. So
nice.
Yeah.
And then the cherry on top, and then we'll get to our surprise late arriving, not a late arriving, but late added guest. Today, though, you had the accomplishment of all possible accomplishments. So, I tell us. We want to hear every little piece of this accomplishment, and we want to share it and celebrate this on the pod today.
Okay. So 2 weeks ago, my boss lost a bet and had to buy me an iPad Pro, right? One of the big ones. So I went and picked it up from the store, and I thought, I have a 4-year-old. This screen might break. So I bought one of those massive screen protectors, that you put on your phones so it doesn't crack. And I was like, every time I don't know about you guys, but every time I put them on, I get bubbles, you get dust trapped in them. Fucking nailed it. Absolute nailed it. Right? To the point where I was celebrating so much, my wife came down, what's wrong? And I showed it to her and she just walked away without saying anything to me. So then I was like, all right, I was riding high. So I thought, I got to replace the one on my phone. Okay. Fucking nailed that one too. 2 in a row. Fucking 2 in a row. First thing I did was I text all the chat groups to let them know.
It's a little things in life.
I've known you, like you always say, I've known you now for about 14 years, and I have never been more proud of you. If you came up with the idea to do media when Arsenal come on tour, or pretend that they're going to come on tour. You've come up with some reasonably good ideas. This is the accomplishment of your life, and I wanted to celebrate it in front of 12 other people, and that's what we're doing.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate that, and I know I'm riding a wave, and I'm high on cloud 9, but I think this might go above the birth of my son. So it's like the 2 in a row, Oliver, and then whatever else. I don't know what's next.
What are we doing tomorrow? Yeah, what's next for Andy Rhodes? On the career arc, I can't even imagine. Are you going to try to stop penalties from a big fat Jew or something? What are we going to do?
I don't want to. That's impossible. Okay, because when you got the power of the Jew, you just can't beat it.
I prayed those balls right into the upper corner of that motherfucking net. So All right. Speaking of which,
shit.
Big Stevie, Steve, you're gonna have to change that Twitter handle to medium large Stevie pretty soon, man. You're looking sharp. You're looking dank.
Yeah, 95 pounds down.
Wow,
that's what you weigh.
That's huge.
Yeah, I wish. One leg, maybe. No, yeah, 95 pounds since 16th of April.
You've lost an entire Lee Gunner.
Which is never a bad thing.
No, I'd love to lose that guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, you know, for people that don't know, haven't seen, so I had a gastric sleeve gastrectomy in April. It's not just through hard work and eating salad, which on that note, I went to Subway today to get a Subway salad because I just fancied something whilst I was out, and salad killed me. Like the lettuce, cucumber, tomato I had, it does exactly the same to me as what bread, rice, and pasta does at the moment. It just bloats me and makes me feel absolutely rotten. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, last time I think I spoke to you, I was in the other room, laying in bed with my stomach just been ripped out, talking to Andy Nunn. So
yeah, that'll rip out. That'll rip out. I just want to give a quick shout out to Alyssa, who is saying hello from the Crown Plaza Orlando. I don't know if she knows this or not, but I'm in the goddamn Crown Plaza Orlando right now as well. So I'm expecting a knock on my door. I don't really know what that's gonna entail, but Alyssa, looking forward to seeing you at one of the events soon.
Is this going to be another 24-hour or a 12-hour?
It depends on how many of these I put down, but no, it's been a fun kind of 24 hours since I've been here so far. I left yesterday at about 4 a.m., drove all the way down from Virginia to Orlando through some of the worst weather, thunderstorms. I mean, I felt like I was driving through Normandy in 1944 or whatever. I mean, I'm sure that's not historically accurate in any possible way, but like if it just sounded like bombs were dropping. But I got here, hooked up with our buddy Aston, friend of the podcast. Aston went out for a couple of beers, some pizza. Aston decided he has me meet him at this shishi bar downtown somewhere. And I walk in, I order like a can of lager. There's no beer taps or anything like that. So I get a can of beer. He walks in and orders this drink that I think the drink was called Large Black Man with a Vagina. Because
hey now, I mean, that looks delicious.
You can't really see it. His hand's in the way.
The drink,
in honor of acid, I'm drinking a strawberry guava Topo Chico hard seltzer. Okay.
All I heard was.
I'm drinking.
It's like Charlie Brown's teacher and shit.
Watch you don't spill that in your vagina, Andy.
Yeah, I'm drinking. Peach
you wish I'd spill it in the vagina. Oh, that looks good.
It's
some
okay.
of that downstairs, but I think it's like black currant.
I'm drinking a double black Cabernet Sauvignon 1924. That is not the year of the vintage. That's the brand name is 1924. I got all excited. I'm like, this beer
guys, we have about
this wine.
We have about 5 minutes before Mike is just hammered.
With red wine, you've seen this before. I do kind of fall off a cliff all of a sudden, but
we call him Merlot Mike in a different circle of friends because you can tell when he's had a glass of Merlot.
I never drink Merlot; it's Cabernet. But yeah, so Aston. One thing I did learn last night is Aston drinks just like Lee Judges does, with his pinky in the air. I slept like a baby last night. I had the strangest dream. Maybe.
When you say you slept like a baby, do you mean like through the night or woke up 6 times covered in your own shit?
No, I slept that's true. Well, a little of each. I slept about 10 hours. I woke up covered in my own shit, of course. I woke up having had the most the dream that I had must have been like an hour and a half long. And dreams are supposed to be like a minute or two, and they just seem longer. This dream was so detailed. I have to go into it a little bit later on after we start talking about Arsenal, because this as soon as I woke up, I started writing it down because you know how you forget as every minute goes by, you just forget more and more of the dream. So I wrote it down, and I wrote it. The hell is that sound?
What the?
I don't know what that was. That was the dream I had. No, but
Terminator.
But so the dream was whacked out. We'll talk about it in a little bit because we have to try to decipher what that dream means. But Owen, you've just come back from playing snooker. Did you pot a bunch of red balls? You didn't?
I can't. As you can see, the cover is over my pool table. I feel quite American because is it John McCain that can't lift his arms up past this thing? He
can't lift anything up at the moment. He's dead.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. But no, I've torn the tendons in my rotator cuff in my arm, so what the hell are you doing,
I
bro?
just wanted everyone to be able to see what you were doing. So.
No, my arm, I'm armless at the minute. I've got one arm. I have to do everything with my right. So everything, Andy, yes, everything.
So you didn't pot a bunch of red balls. You didn't get 147.
You potted some balls, but
I didn't. I'm out of action, I think, for a few weeks anyway. So that's why I'm making myself. That's why I'm making myself available.
Yeah, we can podcast at normal times now. Were you playing against Stephen Hendry?
Stephen Hendry.
Did you get any cocked hat doubles?
No.
Did you apply a deep screw to the cue ball?
Oh, it did. Yeah. It's actually. Do you want to know what the American terminology for snooker or pool, either or, is offensive? I think like banking. You call things like banking, don't you? And
I don't do that. I bring the bell with me to the pool hall, and I use all the proper terms. But did any of your opponents take a lemonade stroke?
What the fuck?
You know what Mike does at a pool hall?
Before we go.
Yeah, do you know what Mike does at the pool hall? He takes the is it a cue?
Mm-hmm.
And he's the guy who puts it between his legs and then just like dry humps people behind them when they're shooting. He just goes around to every table and does that.
We got kicked out of a pub. We went on when I was at college. We went on like sort of a little music tour and went to a few others. And so one down in Worthing near Brighton, I got absolutely slaughtered, and it was like the first time in 2 years that I got pissed with the guys from college, and I ended up riding round. You know, like on Happy. Have you guys seen Happy Gilmore?
Mm-hmm.
You know the bit with the golf club when he's going round the. I was doing that round the pub and I was going mental, and they asked us all to leave, and so.
Inevitably.
I think I may have been topless. I can't remember, but they were just like, "Look, you have to either get him out or all of you go." And we were just like, "Fuck it, let's go to Brighton." Way.
Way. So this is an Arsenal podcast, and
really,
and we do now have a number 10. We've signed Emile Smith Rowe, I think is his name. No, it's not Giannis. It is actually we got a picture of this guy. This guy right here, Arsenal player for the next 5 years. So I don't know of anyone that's upset at tying ESR down to a new long-term contract, but that hasn't stopped people on social media from hitting back on things like, we gave him the number 10 after 6 good months or whatever the hell they want to bitch about. So going to start with you, Steve. What do you make of this move? What do you think it means short and long term for this summer and for the team, going forward?
I like it. I mean, I see a video a few hours ago. Probably the same one you're referring to about the giving Emile Smith Rowe the number 10 shirt. And to be fair, I thought that earlier on in the summer, when people were saying, "Oh, he's not going to sign a contract, he's going to end up leaving," and there was all this hoo-ha, and I was thinking, I just wonder whether it's to do with getting that number 10 shirt. Because not that I think he's the sort of player or the sort of person to hold the club at ransom and be like, "I'm only going to stay if you give me this shirt number." But I just wonder whether or not the club were looking at their options. Who were they going to bring on? If Ødegaard was to come back, would he get the number 10 shirt? A few different things like that. I was just thinking, Smith Rowe is naturally more of a number 10 than James Maddison is, than Ødegaard is, than Aouar is. And I was just thinking, he's going to be the number 10. He's got to be the number 10. And after those good 6 months, why can't he be a mainstay in this side for the next few years? There's absolutely no reason as to why he's not. If we get a Maddison or we get an Ødegaard or we get an Aouar, play him in around them. There's no reason why those players can't play off of either flank, especially if Aubameyang's going to only be here for the next season, especially if Pepe is going to be deployed mainly on the left or whatever it may be. There's no reason as to why he cannot be our number 10 long term. I think it's great that we've tied him down. I think it's great that he's got the number 10 shirt. And along with Saka, these are two players that are really sort of going to be the driving force for this club going forward, whether Arteta stays or whether we get a new manager. These guys are going to be here. And yeah, I'm pleased.
Yeah, the 10 though. I mean, imagine if Twitter was in full force like it is now when Gallus got the number 10. I mean, I think Twitter may have been around, but there were like 4 people on it. So Jared makes a good point. People mad he got the 10 after 6 months are the same people who refused to sell Willock after 8 good games for Newcastle. It's always the usual suspects. So from the Highbury squad, thanks for joining us. Madison sees himself as a number 8. I've heard that as well. I mean, one thing doesn't mean the other. It just means getting the 10 has less to do with what position he's going to play than to his long-term commitment with the club, which is really, really what we wanted to see anyway. So yeah, I mean, where do you find these people, says Divyan. I need proof. Man, you haven't searched deep enough in the cesspool of Twitter yet. You must have like the perfect timeline to avoid all these sons of bitches. But Andy, ESR, you love yourself a good young English Arsenal player. Now we've got a bunch of them. You happy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super happy with it. I don't buy too much into the number 10 kit. I think ultimately, it's usually a position, a number reserved for someone who plays behind the forward, help create goal scoring opportunities, and that's what he's going to do. I get the sentiment of the long term thing. I think there were a lot of rumors that people thought he might be out of the club. Ultimately for me, there's a little bit more sentiment in the fact that we're not going to give it to someone who's going to be joining the club that we have really high expectations for, who's going to make a shit ton of money and just end up ripping our hearts out and we all hate after a season or two, because that won't happen with Smith Rowe. Yeah, we're getting a player who will ultimately play his heart out for the club because it's the only club he's ever known. And as he said in his little interview yesterday, like, I want to become a legend. And we hear that a lot. But I think there are some young British players at the club right now who see that that's an opportunity. So I'm super happy. And, I think last season, those same people were arguing, well, we shouldn't be buying a number 10. We shouldn't be getting Odegaard. We should be giving opportunity to Emile Smith Rowe. And now they're the ones saying, well, why has he got the number 10 shirt? We need to bring in a bigger name. It's like, well, no, hold on a second. Like, he took 6 months to prove in a team of very good players that he's a baller and that he wants to be here. So that's why he got it. We've given him the keys.
He won us second place in the post-Boxing Day table last season, all by himself.
Sure,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
but we've essentially given him the keys, right? And now it's up to him to take it on. No one complained like this when we gave the number 7 shirt to Saka, and that was prior to what he did at the Euros. Like, I think we ultimately, maybe Mason Mount and one or two other players, but I think Arsenal have the 2 best players in the England setup that are coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, Mount, Foden, maybe Sancho are the only ones you can even put in that same class, I think.
Would you not say that Mason Mount, Phil Foden, Sancho are just, like you've just mentioned, obviously coming through the ranks? Would you not say that those 3 are just ahead of Smith Rowe?
Yeah, it would be a year or two ahead.
Yeah.
Year or two ahead of Smith Rowe, but I mean, if you base it off of what Gareth Southgate appears to think, then I'd say Mount's the only one that's at Saka's level. I mean, that the Saka playing in front of Foden was not an accident.
No, and there's a lot to that, right? Like, Saka obviously has the defensive mindset in his game, and so you almost get a twofer, with him, where if you have a lead or you need to do something, he can drop back. Foden and Sancho are never going to do that, but I think it won't be too long until we see Smith Rowe get a call up.
He's going to be part of that England setup.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm super happy for him. I think it's absolutely great, and let's hope that he continues the form into this season, because we need our strikers to have some ammunition behind them, and I think he's the right one.
Oh, and we got Soph the eternal optimist, always positive about Arsenal in every possible way, and I mean that. I do mean that. She's lovely. If ESR stays fit, he could be one of the most special players ever. Imagine when he matures more. Yeah, I mean, these guys are mentally like they're the opposite of what I remember Gideon Zelalem being. Like I was all excited because I'm an American and he's actually from the same area that I'm from. He's from the Washington D.C. area, and I went to see him in a U21 game like a summer after we signed him. We saw him play in California in 2016, Andy. And you could just tell that the guy was a skilled player who didn't have the mentality and the maturity, even though he was 18 or 19 years old, to play in the Premier League. These guys are miles ahead of him at the same age. I would put Martinelli kind of in the same category as well. But Owen, I mean, what do you think we might have on our hands with an ESR in 2 or 3 years if all goes well?
Well, see, first of all, the one thing I'd say is whilst we scrutinise the club and the way they the way they handle their business, that over the past maybe 18 months, I think on the contract side of things, the moves they've been making have been absolutely fantastic. You look at Bukayo Saka, signed up to a new long-term contract. The finances that are very maintainable, nothing over the top like we've seen with players like Marcus Rashford and Jesse Lingard in the past. And now we're seeing that again with Emile Smith Rowe. You're looking at how much money on a salary on a weekly basis have we been paying our previous number 10s at the club? Well, now we have our number 10 set for the next 5 years, who has a personal loyalty to the club as well, on a sub 80 grand a week contract, which is virtually unheard of now if you look at any other number 10 in the Premier League. With Emile Smith Rowe, you mentioned there about the comparisons to the likes of Mason Mount and Saka and Phil Foden, players like that there. What I would say with our two players in particular, with Saka, and I think what you'll see with Emile Smith Rowe in the future, I think what was completely clear throughout the Euros is that Bukayo Saka, above anybody else, has obviously come from a team where there's a lot of burden put on him in particular, where he has to carry the mantle for a struggling club and pull results out of his arse, frankly, on his own at times. And Emile Smith Rowe is sort of cut from the same cloth as Bukayo Saka. I think when you look at those other players, the likes of Phil Foden, I think part of the reason you've seen him struggle was because whilst he is a massively talented footballer with a massive amount of potential, and I have no doubt he will be world class, in terms of the stresses of going out onto the pitch, there's a big difference between what Bukayo Saka and Emile Smith Rowe are doing and what Phil Foden is doing, walking out with Fernandinho and De Bruyne and Aguero in the past, all these sort of starlets. So I think it shows a lot of character for Emile Smith Rowe as well to have requested the 10. I don't think it was a case of him holding the club to ransom. I think that he obviously just went and the club have shown faith. But what I will say is, and I could be completely wrong in this, with the personnel that we have in the wide areas, with Martinelli, with Saka, with Pepe, who has now seemed to start to show mildly that he's worth some part of the valuation that we paid for him. I wouldn't say fully, but he's starting to show signs. What I will say is that I don't think that we're going to see this marquee signing in that number 10 position that people think we're going to get. I think Emile Smith Rowe getting the number 10 shirt, getting the new contract, it would be nonsensical not to give him the opportunity to sort of try and nail down that spot in the team. And I said as well, when we were talking about the William Saliba situation with Ben White, people were saying that William Saliba is going to have his path blocked, and bringing in another centre back is stupid when you have someone with that amount of potential. But then they were going and they were screaming for a proven number 10 to come back in, which was going to just block the path of Emile Smith Rowe. The only thing I would say that maybe has me slightly concerned is Emile Smith Rowe does have a tendency to pick up knocks and injuries, and for me this season is going to be pivotal for him to nail down that spot, and for the club and the manager, whoever it is, to have confidence to give that spot solely to him in the future, as long as he doesn't get any injuries, of course.
Can I ask you guys a quick question? Sorry, Mike, but
your podcast
hours. There's a lot of Mikel Arteta hate, right, with just performances on and off the pitch, and I get that, and they're totally warranted. Some people are a little extreme, but after seeing everything that's happened with a couple of our youth players and the promotions and their growth over the last 18 months, I can't help but think that he might be that right manager who says, I can help these young kids better than someone else, right? Like a Jose Mourinho would have killed one or two of their careers. But for me, I just see Arteta being the right manager to say, okay, I know how to blend them into the squad. I'll know when to play them, when not, when to rest them, when not.
It's either going to go really, really, really well because of what you're saying, or it's just going to completely blow up in his face because he's going to have all the tools and fall on his face despite that. I mean, like, there is no middle ground, I don't think, because he is the kind of he's coming up just like these players are, but with the ability to kind of draft off of some of the things he observed with a Manchester City club that is not the same club that he's managing now by any means, not even close. But, you know, if he can adapt to it and grow, I think you're spot on the fact that he might be the right guy for the job. But, you know, the ability for him to prove that over a longer period of time, like maybe Alex Ferguson did in the 80s at Manchester United, is just not going to be there. So it better start happening this season, I think.
And I want to just say what Christopher Smith said. They need another 10 to push ESR. It doesn't need to be a Madison quality player. I agree with that. I think the more depth we get, the better. I mean, makes you a better footballer, right?
Odegaard last season, I mean, I know that we were playing twice a week and we won't be this season, but Odegaard last year, his presence there proved that ESR, A, is flexible enough to play a couple different positions, and B, you know, doesn't need to be a huge drop-off if something were to happen to him or to whoever we bring in. It enhances the number of different formations and looks you can give on the pitch, and it protects us so that we don't have the kind of drop-off that we have often seen when one of our first team players inevitably gets injured. That's what we've done to replace the person behind Kieran Tierney, which I think was a valuable and a smart addition. I mean, the guy is already scoring a goal every single game, so I think, you know, we can expect that to continue. You know, we need to see that in every position, and you've been saying that since we started this podcast, is that you need to have two guys fighting for the first. You know, you may know who the number one guy is, but you need to have a guy who's second that's not going to be that big of a drop off, and we've never really had that. I'll throw up a slight counter argument just to that. I think that something that we often hear everybody saying is squad depth, is that it'll be good squad depth, he's a good squad player, he's this, he's that. That's fine when you have a decent standard of a starting 11. And for me, whilst I do think the signing of Alakonga is very good, and we may well see more of him than originally thought, I do think we will see more of him. But for me, this season, going into this transfer window, it should singly be about going and targeting people to improve our starting 11. Our starting 11 is way under par for what we're trying to achieve. That's not a counter argument. We're not saying that that's not the case. We're just saying that after doing that, we want. I mean, the bringing in of Tavage is important. To bring in another attacking, creative midfielder.
Do we have one? Do we have one within our midst? That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people
about
saying
Joe Willock.
Joe Willock, exactly. Yeah, it's now. I'll not reveal my own opinions on that before I ask you that question. But are we looking at, like, say for example, how much are we looking at selling Joe Willock for? Realistically, anywhere between 20 to 30 million. Are you going to go out in this market at the minute and get somebody better for 20 million?
No. I don't think so.
That's what I've been saying the whole time.
Not that's a sure thing to be better, but we also don't know that Willock is a sure thing to be better. If the fanfare off of Willock's loan has died to where he's not a 40 million potential player anymore, he's a 20 or 25 million player, I feel differently about keeping him versus selling him. I don't want to make the same mistake that we made turning down a deal from Wolves for 20 million for Mainsley last year, which now in the rearview mirror looks like it would have been a better deal to take. I don't want to do the same thing with Willock. I don't think that we're going to destroy Willock's value to where he's a £4 million player after a year of struggling with Arsenal. But, you know, if it's 20 or 25 million, you have to then think you're not going to really fill much of another spot with that. You're not going to get a Basuma for that. You're not going to make a dent into Madison for that. So, you know, my thought was, after just the insanity of his last 2 months at Newcastle, that someone young, English, goal scoring, just attractive footballer for a lower, for a team that would be able to give him minutes every single game, somebody might put a 35 million, 40 million flyer on him. And if that was the case, you ought to sell him, but not for 20. So I want to get to another position that we've been rumored with this season, and take advantage of the fact that we have the 479,000th best goalkeeper in the world on our very podcast today, and we're gonna highlight him right now. So, oh shit! Hold on, no, that's the last thing I wanted to do. So, our resident goalie expert who can't stop penalties taken by the likes of me. You love yourself an English goalkeeper. I remember you going crazy over Pickford, over Jack Butland when he was available with the relegated Stoke. There's another relegated goalkeeper who's from England, Aaron Ramsdale, that we're apparently going back and forth with Sheffield United on, and they've now quoted us £32 million. I see you shaking your head. Your thoughts on the Aaron Ramsdale gate?
I think it's all bullshit, to be honest with you. I don't think for a moment we're in that realm of even bidding that much for him. It just doesn't make sense. You don't let Martinez leave for 18 and then bid 30 for a backup keeper. It doesn't make sense. I could see us going for like Sam Johnstone or someone in that caliber, like at West Brom, for maybe 15 to 20. I do think we'll probably bring in an English keeper because of the homegrown rules, right? And it makes sense. If you're going to have someone who just sits on the bench. But I don't believe the Ramsdale rumors. And if Ramsdale does happen, it's not happening for 30 million. And that's just absurd.
Yeah. Jared wants us to get Sabitzer to play goal for under 20 million.
Ultimately, like if you're Arsenal and you're looking at it and you want a Premier League ready backup, you could go to Watford and probably buy Ben Foster for under 2, right? And he would be a solid backup behind Leno.
Is Petr Cech available?
Yeah, so it's just like I don't believe the Ramsdale rumors whatsoever. I think those are stupid.
Anyone else want to weigh in on Ramsdale? I mean, Steve, we haven't heard from you for a while, so I mean, we are literally entering this season at the moment. I mean, look, there's still a month and a half, 2 months left in the transfer window, and a month or 3 weeks until the season starts. But we're entering the season with Leno and Okonkwo basically, and Karl Hein. So
and Runnison.
I thought he'd been sent away. But
apparently he was in.
Not yet.
But Ramsdale it is a lot of money, and I just wonder whether or not Sheffield United are creating this stir because they want to get some funds in for their season to get them back up. Because if Arsenal don't come in and buy him for,
don't they get like £100 million as a parachute payment or something?
I don't know. I think it's changed in the lower leagues because I think you've got 2 seasons to sort your shit out. Otherwise, then you start getting heavily fined. Because as QPR were fined like 100 million, Sunderland had to really balance their books this year. But if Arsenal don't buy Ramsdale, if it is just bullshit, which I also believe it is, then another club might come in and say, look, they're not giving you the 32, we'll give you 17. And they go, all right then, okay. And
that's what we really wanted in the first place.
Yeah. And they've now inflated the price of their player. Sam Johnston, I think would be a great bet. Someone like Ben Foster, not so much. I know you only used it as an example, but somebody that's 34, 35. I mean, Ben Foster's I think nearly.
He's 39. He's close to 40, but
if you're YouTube channel, find Tim Howard. I mean,
I just meant like, if you want someone who's older, English, that's just a backup, like why pay 30 when you get someone for 2 and have probably the same outfit?
Peter Shilton could be had for 3.
I don't understand the obsession with the goalkeeping position. Can they not distribute the homegrown quota throughout the squad and get themselves a better deal? I think Sam threw up in the chat there. Onana has already agreed with Leon. But say for example, that deal was apparently in and around £9 million. I'd rather spend £9 million and get a homegrown player in a different position than go out and spend 30 or 20 million plus on Ramsdale, who at best is a 15 million pound player. You know, it seems to me that, like, isn't it funny that when we look at selling our players, Granit Xhaka, the pandemic has reduced his cost, and any other one of our players that are apparently linked to Hector Bellerin, the pandemic has hit their cost. But every other fucking player that we're in for seems to have an inflated price. Aaron Ramsdale, 32 million. Get the fuck.
Yeah. And, well, I think it's pretty clear that this is appropriate, actually, because I'm in Disney. I'm in the land of Disney right now. But this it seems pretty clear to me that Leno is not going to be an Arsenal player beyond next summer. Because I think next summer is when he has 1 year left on his deal. He hasn't said he wants to leave, but as Andy always said, he hasn't said he wants to leave, but he hasn't not said that he wants to leave. And it just seems to me like he's kind of, and I don't know if he's this good or if he's coveted for this, but he's kind of Manuel Neuer's next in line, maybe, or for a potential one of the other top 4 or 5 teams in that league. And
it's going to be another classic. It's going to be another classic. Like,
who's this, Leno?
Yeah. It's
look, I'll say this. I'm sorry. Okay.
Are you gonna get a tattoo if you're wrong about whatever you're about to say?
Yes, 100%. People.
You're gonna tattoo.
I still have the appointment booked from last time. People jumped the gun and started saying that he's world class. All right, he for me is quite a good goalkeeper, but not a fantastic one. His distribution is horrible at times. His decision making is questionable. His positioning isn't very, very good. He's a good shot stopper, which, let's face it, if you're a goalkeeper, you sort of have to need to be. But I think even if you look domestically, like, I would say that Kasper Schmeichel is by far and away a better goalkeeper than him. Alisson Becker, a mile better.
Sure, but they're not available to us.
No, but what I'm saying is that you have to start looking at other teams within the league, and if you make a comparison and yours isn't as good, if that radiates throughout the whole squad, then you aren't going to climb the table or get better results, if you know what I mean. And I think that when to say that he is going to be Manuel Neuer's successor, I don't think he's ever going to reach anywhere near the levels that Manuel Neuer has produced.
So if 3 years goes by and he hasn't been signed, and he gets signed by Bayern Munich, you're getting a tattoo of basically this on your ass. Is that what's happening? You can choose between that one, this one, and this one.
I like that one.
I think everyone likes I know Daniel Robert likes the ostrich one. I mean, that's he calls me every night and tells me that. So, all right. So, and the Onana thing, apparently he's not done at Lyon. Anyone who's saying that we shouldn't be signing that guy because he's got a suspension till November and then the African Cup of Nations in January, I mean, would that not be the perfect guy to bring in and say, this job is yours next summer, basically, and kind of transition out so that we don't have to be panicking next summer and buying whatever relegated goaltender whoever Norwich's goaltender is next season?
Is Leno's contract, obviously it's still up in the air, but if there's a possibility that he's going to sign that, there's no way the club are going to go and get someone like Onana, because he's going to be on
I don't think he's going to sign it.
No, I don't. But I think that's why the club haven't moved to get Onana, because if Onana comes in and Leno goes, you know what, no, I'm going to stay here. But, he might think, well, actually, this guy's probably going to push for his number one. He's going to get the number one. And I can sit here cushy on 130 grand a week. And if Leno was to do that, then the club are in the shit. So I can see why they haven't pushed to go and get Onana. Because, we're not going to have him for 9 months. So if Leno takes an injury within the first 3 months, we're fucked.
Do we think we've missed a trick with Matty Ryan? He seemed to me like someone who absolutely loved the club and was quite content to be a number two.
He wanted guaranteed first team football.
He wanted to be first team, and he's not homegrown, which I think are the two things. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Owen, but we're clearly looking for a homegrown backup goalkeeper. That seems to be.
I don't know. I don't know if we specifically are. As Owen made the point, there's other areas in this team where we can easily, we're talking about one player. Okonkwo is going to be registered within the Premier League squad, I'm sure, and he's a homegrown keeper. Carl Hein.
He's of the age that it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
whether you're homegrown or not, it doesn't matter.
But if we need a homegrown player, he will be registered as that homegrown player. Surely.
Well, put it like this in this scenario, Mike. I would rather Arsenal, say for example, I'm just using the players, not that these are too massively realistic signing. I would rather Arsenal go and sign
Jan Oblak,
Onana and Mats Aarons than sign Ramsdale and some £10 million right back.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I'm not saying that it should be our goal to sign a homegrown backup goaltender. I'm just saying that it seems that is what Arsenal's looking at.
I think it's because we're mainly being linked with English goalkeepers at the moment. So journalists and Twitter know-it-alls are,
there are rodents around. There are rodents all over social media who are telling me that we're looking for a backup goalkeeper. So Joel Foster says, Mike, you should come get a tattoo with me on Tuesday on your ass of Andy's face. There are some things in the world that might happen. That is not one of them.
I thought you said you already had one.
None of that is happening. It's not a tattoo. I just took a picture of it and I just tape it to my ass. Because in case we ever fall out, then I don't want that to be permanent. So it's a strategy of mine. So let's get some user questions in tonight. It's a Friday night. There's the title of the show is No Partey, We Still Party, because a lot of us, and when I say us, I mean me and a few other people, are in Orlando this week, despite the fact that the Arsenal Football Club decided not to come for very predictable and probably understandable reasons of COVID. But those of us who are already destined to be here are going to have a party anyway, even though Thomas Partey will not be here. So let's ask some user questions.
See, just before, whilst we're waiting on them to come in, the user questions, I actually have a new segment I would like to announce. So I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell you this because it would give you time to prepare. And this is going to be a weekly thing from now on.
Is it where you just say "yuz" all the time?
It's called the fun fact of the week. So we're going to start with you, Andy, and you have to give us a fun fact.
Zero preparation.
I gave you the two screen things.
Now you get those were freebies.
No, a fact.
Oh, a fact.
Yeah.
Okay, a fun fact. All right, hold on.
I have
McDonald's. Hey, McDonald's.
You just Googled it.
McDonald's once made a Mike. You're gonna hate this. This is gonna make you puke. McDonald's once made a bubblegum flavored broccoli.
Whoa.
Nice, Mike.
The world's oldest hotel has been operating since 705 AD, and I believe that I am currently staying in it right now.
No,
it says it's in Japan, but I don't believe it because I think it's the Crown Plaza in Orlando, Florida, downtown. But so that's my fun fact. Steve, sorry that I didn't give you prep for this, but I didn't have it either. So.
Any fun facts, like any personal, anything?
Gastric band surgery works?
No. No. Okay. Fun fact. The bass amp that I have currently was given to me by Stuart Zender, who was the original bass player of Jamiroquai.
Wait, what? Wait, one more time.
Have you not heard of Jamiroquai?
No, I have heard of Jamiroquai.
So
what was given to you?
The bass amp that I play, that I have, was given to me by Stuart Zender, who was the original bass player of Jamiroquai.
I thought you were talking about your microphone because we did actually get a question about your microphone.
There. Okay, and the answer to that is it's an Aston Origin, so British made, fantastic, affordable mic, but sits well above its price range in terms of quality. Yeah.
Well,
Steve has a voice. Steve has a very calming voice. Like, you know how there's that Calm app where people read you like story. Like this is a man.
You should hear him.
His voice, you're like
saying, Andy. You should hear him saying that.
Well, let's hear it. But I'm just gonna say, like, I can't envision this man being angry.
Oh, I get angry.
Just put
yelling
Andy
at people
Nunn in a room with him.
I've lost my shit in the past. I mean, let me. When we come off air, I'll show you my bedroom door.
Are you gonna do what another YouTube celebrity does and ask, can you throw a chair? You don't need our permission, mate. It's your own chair. No, you can throw it if you want.
The thing is, if I throw a chair, this is the problem. Like, if I throw a chair, it's the same with people that throw Xbox controllers. I don't have the fucking money to replace shit. So, I can't do it.
By the way, that is a phenomenal segue into something I wanted to talk about, which is the Gooners versus Cancer FIFA tournament. You reminded me of last year. The highlight of last year's tournament, and Owen, you know where I'm going with this. The highlight of last year's tournament in the group stage of the Champions League format, Tom, the Gooner Talk TV Canton, shit the bed in his 6 group stage games, and immediately after the group stage, he texts us all and says, "I just deleted the game from my system," or whatever the fuck it's called. He was so embarrassed by his performance, and he should be. I mean, that's shameful.
No, well, to be fair, I'll give the guy a bit of credit here because he was actually flawless, I think, throughout the group stages, and it was the first knockout round he got his ass absolutely handed to him.
That's what. Yeah, well, because he was in the whatever the group of life, like the opposite of the group of death, he was in. So he thought he was big upping himself as being like the greatest player on the earth, and then he plays an actual opponent in the round of 16 and just shit the bed, or the round of 32, and deleted the game, and I believe threw it out his window. But he's back in the game this season. So yeah, if you want to be part of this tournament, and there's about 5 days left to register, because I got to make the group draws, and we're going to get started on the 1st of August. So we really need to fill out these groups. If you want to play, the crawl on the bottom of the screen is saying it, but if you're just listening, to go to the Gooners versus Cancer FIFA 21 tournament, there's one for the PlayStation, either PS4 or PS5. There's one for the Xbox. Go to GVC FIFA Xbox.live. It's not .com, it's .live. GVC FIFA Xbox.live or GVC FIFA PlayStation.live. Register. You'll get an email that talks about what you need to do. It basically takes a $25 donation into Gooners versus Cancer to solidify your entry. You'll get placed in a group. You'll get 6 automatic games in the group stage, and then we go to the elimination stages. There's some great prizes. First prize gets $150 now. It was $100, but our friend Steven Hernandez from Houston just pitched in to make the prize higher. So it's any Xbox, Daniel, gets to play, I believe. I think they're all reverse compatible with each other. That's at least what my son tells me.
I don't think they are.
Well, whatever the last 2 versions of Xbox. If you have like if you have a Commodore 64, you're like Charles Watts was tweeting last night, you're probably not going to get to be able to play in it. But and yeah, we don't have it for the PC, but it's a great tournament. You get 6 games. You meet people from all over the world. We get chat set up. There's trash talking. There's fun. There's Gooner talking. Winner gets $150 of each tournament. Second place gets $75. Third and fourth place gets a great piece of art from Ruth Beck Art at Ruth Beck Art on Twitter. She's amazing, and we're really trying to get to fill in these tournaments over the next 4 or 5 days. So please, and if you can't remember how to join, just DM us at the Gooners Pod or at Gooners v Cancer, and that's what's going on. The other thing that's going on for Gooners versus Cancer this weekend is the Orlando raffle. We have an Orlando-specific raffle. It was just going to be for the people that are here in Orlando for the big, massive Arsenal visit. But now that they're not coming and the crowds are probably going to be a bit smaller here, we're opening it up to anybody. So now, between now and next Tuesday, the 27th, if you go to the special Orlando page, which is www.gvcorlando.com, let me put it up here. There we go. Go to that page, make a donation, buy raffle tickets. It's going to be a relatively small raffle compared to the one that we run later in the summer, so your chances of winning will be higher. But first prize is going to be a signed kit from your choice of Lee Dixon, Alan Smith, or Kevin Campbell, and you'll be able to, tell them what you want them to sign within reason. Preferably few 4-letter words, but we've had a few interesting ones slip in over the last few years. So So that's the first prize. Second prize is going to be a personalized new Arsenal kit of your choice. You choose home, away, or third, and you choose the player that you want on it. Obviously, it's going to be Xhaka. And then of course we're giving away 5 additional Ruth Beck art prints as well. So thank you to Ruth for that. But you don't have to be in Orlando anymore. Enter that, and you'll have a chance to win. So you can go to that right now. Don't send us any super chats. Don't do anything else. Just go there and donate. You can use your credit card, and it's just amazing. Question from Don Juan. And the answer to this, we're going to do this in a Jeopardy format. The answer is fuck yous. Have you put on weight looking fat around the face? In the last 3 months, I have lost 35 pounds and then gained 12 back. So have I put on weight? Yeah, but like not in general. So I'm trying to keep up with Steve. The only way I can lose 95 pounds is what I'm going to try to have happen tonight, which I'm getting my head cut off. So, question for you, Andy, from Divyan. Should have Mike played Ted Lasso in Ted Lasso? And along with this, do you watch that show?
I can't wait to watch it tonight. Love that show.
Did you watch the whole first season?
Season's out tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. I actually watched the first season twice because I watched it solo, and then I said to Chris, we should watch this together, and she was all against it, and now she loves it too. It's such a good show.
Oh, and are you aware of the show?
I am, but I haven't watched it, and I tell you why, because there's a movie that I hold very dear to my heart from growing up about a football manager, and whilst Ted Lasso does look very good, I'm afraid of ruining the other one for myself. It's a Mike Bassett Mike Bassett England manager, which is absolutely flawless. If anybody hasn't seen that show, you'll find it on the internet. Go and watch it. It's unbelievable. Do it legally.
I haven't seen that, but Steve, you like Ted Lasso?
I do like Ted Lasso.
I'm shocked about this. So I have something to admit, and I'm going to change this because my wife actually asked me to start watching this show. I
Love Island.
No, I watched it. I watched 3 or 4 episodes of the first season, and I got really like football, like snobby about it. I'm like, this is like a joke of what Americans would do. Like I didn't get it. Like I just thought it was so inauthentic and stupid, and I felt dirty watching it. And so I just put it away. And then to find that people who are English actually are enjoying it turns my head around a little bit. And my wife wants to watch it with me. So and that's
here's one thing I will say, Mike. What I love about the show is whoever wrote it, the subtleness of their Premier League history and facts and what's happening in the world of football.
It's on point.
It is so well done. And it's so well done to the point where it's completely over my wife's head. She still gets the joke, but I'm laughing being like, that was fucking clever how they've just looped in that moment of what's happened in Premier League history or just something they've said or a rule or just something. And you're like, that's really well done. So if you're embedded within football, you're going to like the show. Now, maybe the comedy's not for everyone, and it can be a little bit corny.
The opposite was going to be the case. I thought if you were embedded in football, you were going to think this was stupid because, like, it came from a commercial. It came from, like, it started with commercials that they had over here on NBC for Premier League football with him playing an idiot Tottenham manager, of course, which was the funny part. And it grew out of that. And the commercials were funny, but I'm like, a whole fucking series about this. How could that possibly be? But so you're saying it's good. I mean, look, my wife and I we're 4 episodes or so away from being done with Suits, all 9 seasons. So we're looking for another show, and so we might have to do that one because she's asking.
You will not regret it.
Nice.
I'll do it. Where can you watch it?
It's on Amazon Prime. Over here, it's Apple Plus.
I thought it was on Amazon Prime. Oh shit. Okay. All right. So Daniel Robert asks, early prediction for player of the season. I'm going for El Neni. That Daniel Robert, man, you can't ever get a serious answer out of him. Although I think this is, I think he's 100% on this. Oh, and your player of the season.
I'm actually going to go for someone that people maybe won't jump to automatically. I think that Nicola Pepe is going to shine this season. I think that the sort of the acclimatising to the Premier League will have set in now. I think when you look back at some of the players of the past, Robert Pires wasn't outstanding in his first season. That's not to draw any comparison stylistically between the two, but I think that it took a while for Mikel Arteta to have a bit of faith in Pepe, and statistically, he's sort of come out near the top of the bunch this season. So I think he can only get better. My jam for the season, though, the one that I think will go under the radar and improving us if it does come off, I think that Ben White will have a massive impact if we get that deal done, which I expect us to do.
All right, Andy, who's your peg for the player of the upcoming season?
Player of the season, I think dude is just gonna roll in from the Euros and just fucking annihilate the world, and I'm really excited to see Saka win a Champions League trophy next season with Man City. The following season. So not this season, but the next season after.
Well, that's very nice of you. That's you're very kind. Steve, who's your but for this season the question was who is your Arsenal?
Saka, I answered. Saka's gonna crush it this season, get sold next summer to Man City, and then win a Champions League.
No, don't say that.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was thinking if we sign him, I think Ben White will. I just think this guy's going to hit the ground running, and there's something. Whenever we've signed sort of big money centre backs, or say big money, they've always hit the ground running, right? Mustafi in his first season. Say what you want about the guy now. His
21
first 20,
games or something
games,
like that.
He was brilliant. Gabriel,
that Everton
match,
I remember.
Yeah, Gabriel last year was brilliant until he got injured. And I just think Ben White is good. I think Ben White just looks the part. However, take Ben White out of the equation because he's not currently an Arsenal player. I think player of the season is probably going to be Thomas Partey. I think he is going to. I'm
angry because you stole mine, but I'm happy because we're on the same page.
His preseason, I know it's only preseason, but he looked sharp. He looked a little bit sluggish, a little bit sort of acclimatizing early last season. The Spurs game, he was knackered and, he was still brilliant. He was still pulling up trees within the short amount of time he played. But I just think this season, especially if we can have, whether that's going to be Lokonga or it's going to be anybody else, I just think he's going to be freed up because we're going to have a proper centre mid next to him in some capacity, and I think he's gonna be a fucking baller.
There's only one player in my eyes that can actually unseat Thomas Partey as the incoming player of the year for Arsenal, and that is Tammy Abraham. Which brings me to Joel's question: Tammy Abraham, yes or no? Let's try to make these quick around the block. But Steve, we'll go counterclockwise.
Yeah,
Steve,
on that. The money side of things, it's a lot, but I do like him as a player, and I do think that he's got quite a bit to offer. So I would take him. Yes.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah, I'd take him. I think he's a decent player. We've seen a lot of Chelsea players leave Chelsea and become. We've seen a lot of Chelsea players leave Chelsea and become really good players. So why not?
Just not the ones that come to us.
Not the ones that come to us, but
right. There's always, you gotta. It would have been a whole different narrative if Demba Ba had come to us and just lit up the world. But Tammy Abraham, let's call it 35. I know that 40's been mentioned, but let's call it 35. Tammy Abraham worth it?
Well, it depends. If it's this transfer window, apparently the deal that they're looking to pursue is that they would get him this season and not pay anything until next season. So for me, if it didn't come out of this year's transfer budget directly, then yes. If it would hinder signings in the right back or centre midfield area, then no. But if the deal is what it's touted to be, then yes.
Assuming we sell Nketiah and assuming that if Abraham's to come in, that Lacazette will need to leave, I think Lacazette's got a year or two at the top level left in him. I don't really want to let him go, but at his age, in his contract status, we're really not going to get a lot for him unless we sell him for a little bit this summer. Abraham is not an upgrade on Lacazette, but he is a younger Lacazette.
Oh, he is. Tammy Abraham statistically has outperformed Lacazette in any of his Premier League seasons at Arsenal.
And he is a Chelsea player whose path has been blocked by their Galactico strategy. He is not a Chelsea player who's who's on his way down. Like, he's not an Azpilicueta, he's not a Luiz, he's not a Willian. He is a guy like Lukaku and Salah and KDB who just keep bringing in Galacticos to play their position, and they're just never going to get a chance. And the only person recently that seems from the youth location in Chelsea to be able to break through that has been Mason Mount, but Tammy Abraham seems to be out of favor, and if he's available, he's homegrown. So I
fear there's a domino effect. I do fear the deer. Apart from deers, I also fear that
spiders.
We are going to hey guys, the overpopulation of deer in Wisconsin is a very big issue, and we need to hunt them and kill them, okay? Because otherwise they hit your car and they do a lot of damage. But the fear for Tammy Abraham,
shared by Gooners podcast founder and co-host, are not necessarily that of the Gooners podcast.
No. I think you'll find anyone in Wisconsin or the greater Midwest will say, kill all the deer that you can.
Call them bitches.
Plus, venison's pretty good. But I will say the domino effect of Tammy Abraham leaving Chelsea is going to mean that they're going to sign Haaland, which means the league is out of sight.
Yeah, that is a problem. They're not getting rid of Abraham because of Timo Werner. It's because like Timo Werner could be available to us for 20 million next season. Because
I would take it.
I wouldn't, because he can't even find the goddamn crest on the shirt.
Yeah, he's had a poor season, but that guy.
No. He's every.
Let's be real here.
Had he not moved, had he stayed in England, in Germany, he's the next Lewandowski. All right, so
let's judge this properly, Mike. Sorry, how does his missus look?
Whose? Which ones?
Both. I'm fine. Throw either of them up. Tammy Abraham or Timo Werner.
Oh,
Tammy Abraham wife. He seems too young to have a wife.
I heard Gylfi Sigurdsson's missus is available.
Yes.
The opinions shared by people that we invited at the last minute to be on the podcast are not necessarily those of the.
I thought you guys liked that sort of humor. Bring the tone down.
I do. I love it.
Humor. We do not like getting canceled. All right.
Well, before Mike reads this question, I'm going to say, Sam, for legal reasons, Mike's not allowed within 200 yards of either of these locations. But Mike, go ahead and read the question.
It's pending. It's pending litigation. From Sam Greenwood. Mike, do you prefer Captain Nemo at Epcot or Space Mountain at Disney? I prefer the big area with the countries at Epcot because there's beer sold there, and that's where I will be on Tuesday. Not getting a tattoo of Andy's ass on my face or Andy's face on my ass.
Are you really going there?
I'm going to Epcot with George and Ryan. From Boston with David Ziegler and Lori and with Tiffany and Sean. It's going to be nice. It's going to be I wasn't going to be able to because of my my media duties, but now I'm free, so I'm going to do that. Space Mountain.
Are you guys going to go to any of the matches?
Probably not. It's Everton, Millonarios FC, and 2 Colombian clubs that have been shipped in at the last minute to play on Wednesday. And even though I have press credentials, I don't know that I really see the point at this point. The only thing I'm interested in going to, there was supposed to be a 5-on-5 tournament with Kaká and who's the Romford Pele, Ray Parler, and a bunch of other
Merlot Mike.
Here we go.
Mike has finally joined us.
And so if I can get media credentials for that, or media access to that, but I don't know if they're even still doing that. So if I had to choose between the two, it's Space Mountain to Disney, but yeah, we're not doing that. So Next question we have from Sam also. Mike, are you scared of Florida Man? I am Florida Man right now. So, Florida Man is this historical thing where Florida contains tremendous idiots. People are just dumb down here. Like they go and they dive into a lake to go get their golf ball, and they end up getting eaten by an alligator. And the headline is Florida Man gets eaten by an alligator. But I just bought a house down in Florida, so 4 years from now, I am going to be Florida Man.
It seems like it fit in.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a seamless transition.
I thought he was going to say 4 years from now he's going to get eaten by an alligator.
That could happen, and I'm going to do it on the podcast. Hey, Mike, what wine are you drinking? Red. That's the answer I'm giving.
I think Joel has a good point here. You should just use your media pass to yell at Iwobi, good luck making the team next year. That should be the only thing you use it for. Get it on camera and then walk out.
I'll walk. I'll literally bring a microphone with me, and I'll drop the microphone and walk out. From Daniel, theme park or water park? I'm doing both. My boy Jake is getting in here on Wednesday next week, and we are going to a water park on Friday and Busch Gardens in Tampa on Saturday before we go back down to Sarasota to see my new place. So yeah, these are all good questions. Here's one Arsenal related one. Owen, Henderson or Sanchez? Are we talking Renato Sanchez? So Renato Sanchez, who apparently, if he signs for Arsenal, you're going to see a whole new realm of people following the Arsenal gerbil, because the prediction from the Arsenal gerbil a month ago was that we were being connected with him. Who would you rather have? I mean, they're not exactly the same profile of player, are they, Owen?
No, but something that I will touch on in this here is that with the link to Jordan Henderson coming out, which I don't think there's much to be honest with you, because they've lost Gini Wijnaldum already. I highly doubt that Jurgen Klopp is going to want one of his other sort of mainstays to be exiting the same window. But what I will say that really aggravated me was the backlash that these links got from Arsenal fans were really, really surprising. I mean, you're talking about somebody who doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, but he gets the job done. He's a Premier League winning captain, a Champions League winning captain, a Super Cup captain, a very experienced international, and I would argue the best captain in the Premier League. In my opinion, I think he's the best captain in the Premier League. And we're a team that lack guile, that lack leadership at times, that lack a bit of a do-or-die attitude, and he's somebody who brings all that there. And just because he's not the flashy player like a Cesc Fabregas that we all think that we want, but he could be somebody that we need. I think sometimes we overlook players like that, and that's been Arsenal's problem. We always go for the fancy flair players when really we need a bit of a bastard in that midfield.
Who was the guy that was available from West Brom 3 years ago? We all turned our noses up on him, and he's been Johnny Evans. He's done a job at Leicester. They were smart. I mean, that's the kind of thing. We can make mistakes when we do that. Lichtsteiner, for example. But, I don't know how I feel about Jordan Henderson. Whenever I think about Jordan Henderson, I just remember this game about 5 years ago that I saw where they showed him I think it was a Champions League game. They showed him in the player tunnel. And for 45 seconds, the camera was on him. And all he was doing was fixing his hair and primping. He was just I don't know what he was preparing for. He was about to play football, but
do you want to know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when James Milner went to Liverpool. He also had some links with Arsenal at that time as well.
And people passed it at the time.
People turned their noses up at that, and I tell you what, he's done absolutely fantastic for them.
Yeah, no, he's been a solid player and a penalty. And like So says, same with Thiago Silva. Look, I mean, you sign guys like that. And you're gonna have some successes. You're gonna have some failures. It just depends. AC Milan's gonna get a really good striker who's 35 years old for the next 2 seasons, I think. And despite the fact that he's 35, sometimes those deals work out. So,
well, you're talking. Do you want to know what? And I'm sorry to keep going on. I know it's supposed to be a short answer, but I think sometimes when you want an opinion on a situation, it's very good to look at a neutral. And for me, my brother is an absolute die-hard Liverpool fan, just a Liverpool fanatic. And when I mentioned to him the reaction from our fans when the link to Henderson emerged, he was just in hysterics at the fact that Arsenal fans thought they were above. We don't
have a right to be above anyone at this point. No. I mean, if we were trying to sign back Craig Eastman from Sutton United right now, people would, have a fit.
Here's the thing, though. Like, look at all the players that we pushed out of the club because they were too old. That went on to basically help Man City win a trophy. They went on to other places and had great 2 or 3 year career runs to end their careers. Like Jordan Henderson probably doesn't walk into the Arsenal starting 11 every week, but he fucking changes it. And just the fact of his leadership ability. I mean, as much as you want to give shit about David Luiz last season, he probably did more in the locker room for the next 5 years of Arsenal that he did at his tenure. And like as Sophie just said, Cavani, like these older players can that one still to go make so well for them.
I really didn't. No, my God, Cavani, and they also did the same thing with Ibra, and he's been at 2 teams since United had him, but he still changed the.
The thing, though, is like Jordan Henderson is not leaving Liverpool. He is Jurgen Klopp's right-hand man. That was all just a rumor. It's not happening. It's not happening. To Owen's point, and I'll echo it and I'll repeat it. Our fan base are a bunch of cunts.
Cheers. Thank you.
That was Owen's point. Daniel Robert, theme park. Or no, sorry. What was the question?
That one.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. I would. I mean, the question was obviously it wasn't answered. Henderson or Sanchez? I would like Sanchez, but the Henderson league. I mean, you guys just brushed up on it. I think it's criminally underrated, and I think he has been for a long time. And I've seen Jordan Henderson since he broke through at Sunderland. Same with Pickford. I saw Pickford as a youngster. But as not that I'm a big Sunderland fan as well. For people that are watching, my great granddad played for Sunderland. I've got links with Sunderland, so that's where the Sun. Oh, it's out of picture now, but I've got Sunderland half and half. But Jordan Henderson, even when he was at Sunderland and went to Liverpool, there was something about this guy in midfield. He wasn't a flashy player, but he has all the attributes for a great centre midfield. He's good on the ball. He looks for the pass. He's commanding. He doesn't shy away from a tackle. And people saying, "Oh, what's the point of getting someone like Henderson when we've got Granit Xhaka? He's just had a great Euros." As Owen said, but Henderson, okay, fair enough, didn't have a great Euros, but he's won the Champions League and the Premier League in the last 2 or 3 seasons. What's the deal with that? And people are now, after wanting him out the door a year ago, want to hang on to Xhaka because Sanchez. On the subject of Sanchez, sorry, I'll try and wrap it up quickly. Sanchez is playing in League One, right? The Farmers League, when it suits. You talk about Sanchez, who's just won the league with Lille, but because he had a few poor months with Swansea, he plays in the Farmers League. Don't need Sanchez. But yet, William Saliba has 6 good months and a few good games a few seasons ago. In the same league, he's supposed to be a world beater at 18. Is it a Farmers League? Is it not a Farmers League? I mean, both Henderson and Renato Sanchez would improve our midfield.
Did anyone else hear that?
Okay, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I think both players would mightily improve our midfield. But I would take Sanchez.
Yeah, I think he's kind of come a long way since he left Swansea, and I think he would be a good addition. He showed in the Euros in his appearances that he was high quality. So I would love for the gerbil to be right about that. So I need some help because I want to figure out what's going on. I need a lot of help, but the help I'm asking for right now, I need the dream analyzers in our chat to help me sort out this dream I had last night. It was the longest, most convoluted dream I've ever had in my life. So it had nothing to do with Arsenal, but I want to kind of get your views on it. So it starts with me sitting in some field watching a space shuttle launch, and the space shuttle goes up and it comes down in this like parachute thing, hits the ground, and then goes up and explodes, which is awful. And I was crying. My family was there. And apparently one of the astronauts' kids was in the crowd, and he was crying. And I said I would take care of him because his mom had died. Now, the kid, and this is gonna sound weird, the kid was a scallop, like the food. There was a scallop that was crying, and his mother had passed away on the space shuttle. Okay,
was his mother a scallop?
He was what? No, I don't know what his mother was, but he was a scallop. So I take the scallop, and I promise him I'm going to take care of him. I'm going to make sure his life is good, and then we go to get a new car because I got now I have a family, and we go to this new car dealership, and I work my way into a waiting room without waiting in line. Like I told somebody, like, I need to be in the waiting room here, or in this. It was like a doctor's office, but it was a car dealership. So I start telling the salesman about the scallop and about how I'm taking care of it, and he was empathetic. He's like, "Oh, I have a son who's like a shrimp or something like it was like he understood my plight." And next thing I know, the police are rushing in to this room, and the salesman had called the police because he believed that I was a person who was part of some car theft drug ring, and he had like found me. So he tipped off the police, and they came in and arrested me, and they brought me into this room. That's the last I ever saw of the scallop. So the scallop's out of the dream at this point. So the police start questioning me, and they show me pictures of the person that they were looking for, and it kind of looks like me, but it's definitely not me.
John Travolta in that movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was that guy, and they show like they're bringing up on these screens like notes that the suspect had written, and I'm like, I've never seen, or I don't know anything about that. I'm realizing like I didn't do this. They've got the wrong guy, and I was in their face. I was like, you have the wrong guy, and how stupid are you going to look when you feel this, or like when you realize this? So now there's like 5 guys in there, and they're all looking at me like, you're guilty AF. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I got in one of their faces, like 3 inches away from their face. I'm like, you are going to feel like such an idiot when you find out that it's not me. And he fucking slaps me in the face. And as a wimp, I say, "Oh, I'm going to sue you because you slapped me in the face." I was a complete bitch about it, and I say, like, look, I need to take pictures of this so that I could prove that you hit me in the face. This is all one dream. Like, dreams are supposed to be like a minute long. This is like an hour and a half. I had a few beers, and then I told you, I slept like a baby.
I'm pretty certain that this is a Nicolas Cage movie.
It's not over yet, though. I'm like complaining that I want to press charges against the cop that hit me in the face, and they're like, "Well, take pictures of yourself." I'm like, "Well, you took my phone. You took all of my personal belongings when you arrested me." And he says, "Okay, use my phone." So I'm using the phone. It's not an iPhone, so I'm like really struggling how to use it. Like, how do I take a picture?
Can't use Android.
Well, because I'm like, if I just take the pictures, he's going to erase them. So I got to take the pictures and send them to myself. And I can't figure out how to do that. But in doing that, I see the pictures on his photo stream. And he's got pictures from the day before where he was at some sort of like buffet dinner with people I know from my neighborhood. Like, I recognize the people on his photo stream. And I'm like, "Oh, do you know Bill and Liz? These are my neighbors for like 20 years. And he's like, "Yeah, we were at the dinner with them last night." I'm like, "Well, call them because they know I would never do something like this." And so they call him and they get him on the phone. And he's like, "I don't think he would do something like that. But come to think of it, the last time I was over at his house, he had like really nice new dishes." And so maybe he's like, maybe he's guilty. And I'm literally, the end of the dream is me screaming at them sarcastically, like, "Yeah, you've just, I swear to God, this was the end. You've just nailed the Jewish crime kingpin, the Jewish drug lord. Like, sure, whatever, you got me." And then I woke up.
I'm going to break this down for you, Mike, because I'm pretty certain that I get it. Okay?
I need your
I'm
help.
pretty certain that I've figured it out. So if I could have the floor for 2 minutes, okay? So you mentioned that you were in a room with 5 dudes and you were 3 inches away from their face. That's an orgy.
All right.
Okay? All right, second. You were encouraged to take photos of said situation. Those are for your personal records because you're a pervert. Then you were talking about how they took all of your belongings, ergo your clothes, right? So again, there's a theme here.
You're the only one of us that's been naked on camera today.
Hold on. You were talking about a food buffet. Every fantasy you've ever told me that was sexual in nature has involved food. And Exhibit D, okay? This is the big one. Exhibit D. Your dream started off with the space rocket, which looks like a penis. So, I think it's time for you to come out to us as a man who likes the company of other men, and there's nothing wrong with that, Mike. I embrace it for
Clearly,
you.
by this podcast, you know that's true already. But
you just got Johnny Cochran, bitch.
Yep. Who in this room has been woken up by Mike tickling his feet? Me. Okay. There's just too many.
Fucking true. And it happened about 45 minutes from where Sophie lives, so she could have been there to watch it.
I feel extremely jealous now, guys.
Oh my god, Chig's in the house, and he's got some. He thinks I slept with Netflix. I was watching Blacked. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what I was watching before I went to bed last night, but Don Juan, nothing wrong with being gay. There's absolutely nothing.
No, nothing at all. Embrace it. We love it.
I just on a medical side of things, I've just got one question. Okay, did you drink yesterday?
I had about 4 or 5 beers and 2 slices of pizza with Aston, and then I hit the wall because I had been driving all day. I'd been up for like 20 hours. I came back to the hotel room. I had a bottle of water and just passed out. And this was the final dream. This was like in the 9th to 10th hour of my slumber. And I don't recall having a dream that convoluted and long and ridiculous in my life. So I clearly have a lot of soul searching to do. And I need to talk to multiple different kinds of therapists. Steve, any ideas on what this might mean? We've only known each other a few months, but
Do you like seafood?
I do.
And buying cars, or it could just be like everybody else is saying, and you like penis up your bum, like.
I've got an actual recommendation of something that you can do to prevent this in the future.
What,
you can
penis
be like,
up the bum?
No, the dreams in particular. That look, man, you live your life the way you want to live your life. I don't. But you could be like one of those smelly, hairy hippie bitches and get yourself a dream catcher.
Yeah.
Hairy hippie bitches.
So, Mike, I think from what we've broken down from your dream is either you're a gay man in the closet that just needs to come out and live his life normally, or you want to kidnap a child. Those are the 2 things I've walked away from this dream with.
Can you kidnap a child whose mom dies in a space shuttle accident? I mean, that's horrible. But
if it's not a human child and it's a
someone say it's actually
child.
It's probably easier to kidnap a child.
It wasn't a human child. It was a
space shuttle accident than one that happened.
It was a hashtag seafood child. I don't know. This dream was much more satisfying.
You don't get this content on fucking Lee Gunner's channel, do you?
So surprised there's still this many people watching.
This was a much better dream than the dream I had a few days ago, which was 5 seconds long. I woke up in a cold sweat, and all I can remember is this. So,
do you reckon Martin Luther King, when he was shouting, I had a dream, that this was the same dream, but he was just too embarrassed to talk about it?
Can you imagine at the Lincoln Memorial, he goes, I have a dream, and then he does the exact 5-minute thing that I just did on the podcast.
That picture of Lee looks just like fucking Voldemort.
We have better pictures, but this is
that's Voldemort. Harry Potter's dead. No,
he is a wizard at football.
Martin Luther King, I've got 2 dreams. Hear me out on the first one because I need some advice. The second one will go down in history, but the first one I need some help with.
Yeah, they edited his comments, and I'm glad that they did, because scallops would have been a bigger part of our lives now. All right, man.
Now Dublin Gooners saying no jury would convict you for kidnapping a scallop, and we have a friend who's a lawyer. I think we need to get John.
It's not bird law; it's shellfish law.
Yeah, I think we need to get John on for the next pod, and we need to discuss this in greater detail. I too am surprised. Actually, the listenership has gone up since this has happened, and these are new people logging in, being like, "What the fuck are these idiots talking about?" And they're never going to come back again.
Dude, that's the entirety of our podcast. Is I'm never gonna. We want people to come here and then never ever want to see us again, but they can't help.
Season 7, Don Juan has figured out the tagline. Look at the state of that. That's going to be our tagline for season 7.
The intro video is just going to be a scallop for 30 seconds dancing around with an Arsenal kit on. I don't know what happened to the scallop, because I don't know whether I was freed or not. I might have been convicted of that, even though I didn't do it. But
Joel, he keeps signing up as someone who's actually reputable in the media circles, and then
it's the Jewish charm.
And then he plays the Jew card once they decide they won't let him in.
Look how handsome and professional I look. Hi there, my name is Michael. I dream about scallops. All right. Well, you're just upset because you're not going to get the level of inside content that you would have gotten if Arsenal had come here. I had interviews set up with management, with the players. You have no idea what we had going on, and now it's all down the drain. It's just going to be watching people donate to gvcorlando.com. This is the first prize. Andy will give you a signed picture of that. Or is that what you get when you sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/GFP? No, not GFP.
You think about Danny a lot. Jeez. Hey, Mike, let me ask you a question. Was Danny the scallop?
He had a beard, the kid. And he was I think it might have been.
Here's a question from Danny, which I know the answer is yes. Do you have any photos of grown men naked in the bath?
Yes, I do, and I've posted them many times. And they're
all
Patreon
that you've got, or have you got an OnlyFans now as well?
They're all Danny.
Well, we got kicked off of Pornhub because we weren't blue tick.
Yeah,
which is
we uploaded a few of our shows to Pornhub. This would have been a perfect one to upload to Pornhub, but they stopped they stopped allowing random people who weren't
My
fucking.
favorite was the one person whose comment was, "Why is this here?"
Yeah. But I think the video of me brushing my teeth is still on there, so that's hot. You can check that out. And if you're considering coming on the podcast, or if you're someone that granted us media passes and you just wanted to check out the podcast, this is not actually the podcast. I just want you to know. No, this isn't the podcast. This is the sub podcast.
Listen, there's ultimately someone to blame for what's just happened the last 20 minutes, and I'm going to say it's hers' fault.
Yeah, well, Mikey had to bail at the last minute. Steve, you've been a more than capable replacement. In fact, Mike's off the pod now, and you're on.
Cheers for having me.
Where can we find you? And do, because we need to purge ourselves of the view of me and my weird dream. Are you able to play us a tune? Are you able to play us out? Is that asking too much?
Well, I haven't got my acoustic guitar on me.
All right. Well, then.
No. We will fill time until you get that.
I've got one next to me. I don't know how to play it, but I've got one.
Can you pass it through? Can you pass it across the here? I'll put it over here.
Right there. I just wonder. 1 second. Let me try this.
All right. While you're looking for that, Owen, you're a week away. Oh. You're a week away from now. Are you not able to play now because your arm apparently fell off?
Yeah, it's, as you can see, it's useless. I haven't really moved it much through the entire podcast. I'm going to referee instead, which is better because, let's be honest, I'm fat and I'm probably not healthy enough to run a football pitch anymore.
how many people are like? I mean, like, what are the stats? What do we got? What do we got going on? And if for some reason you're listening to this podcast and you live in Ireland, where do we go to be part of this?
The match is taking part at kickoff at 2 p.m. on Sunday, the 1st of August, at Jennings Park in Newry, named after ex-Arsenal goalkeeper Pat Jennings, a man from our local town. So, it's going to be a full match, a full 90-minute match. Everyone's welcome, guaranteed equal amount of playing time to each participant as well. So if you're over this side of the pond and you're knocking about, stop by and have a kickabout.
Was that across the street from Daisy Hill Hospital?
Fucking hell, man! You are such a that's weird. Quick,
he's got Google Maps open right now, and I did the same thing about Hemel Hempstead because I wanted to find out.
Yeah, but my search game is strong because that's my job, and But remember that time I fucking called out Nunners on WhatsApp with his Arsenal connection?
Yeah. You mean the time that he actually tweeted when Tony Fain said that his uncle was picking up Jean-Michel Sarri or whatever at Colney? What a douche! All right, not Tony Nunners. Andy, when are we going to see you again? Are you rejoining on a full-time basis, or what are you looking at for the next few months?
Listen. I got to go back into my contract and review the lines on because I was working on a new intro video, which I think Owen said there was a roller coaster of emotions watching the 15.
My intro video is perfection. I mean, how could you improve upon that?
You saw the last one, the one I'm making right now. I mean, it's fucking quality.
All right.
But I can't have it bastardized throughout the season. So I need to hear right now verbal commitment that you won't do it, and then I'll rejoin the show on the reg.
That I won't do it. I mean, I did it already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't bastardize season 6's intro video.
Can we just play this?
It's like basically you going into the Louvre and painting over the Mona Lisa.
Like Mr. Bean.
Can this just be our intro?
That's brilliant.
Mike's recently I feel like Mike has taken and paid for like a video editing class, and he just does nothing else with his life now.
I'm just getting better at it, Mike. And
Owen's just agreeing with me immediately. Like, that's exactly what's happened.
Wait, you just wait, because we are putting together a Gooners versus Cancer video that's going to kick ass. We are talking about influencers, players, journos. You guys haven't fucking done your part yet, but I've asked you.
I thought we agreed on what my part was going to be, the robot voice.
No, I'm not doing that. We are. Are you talking about this robot voice? Oh my god, I love this.
The Stephen Hawking voice.
Yeah, hold on. Where is it? Did I erase it? I think I might have erased it. Anyway, we're gonna do a Gooners versus Cancer video that's gonna absolutely kick ass. And this.
Somewhere in the Colorado wilderness, Andy Rhodes was unable and unwilling to produce a prediction video for Arsenal versus Fulham. So I, his android, will make his prediction for him. Because I'm toxically negative, I believe the game will be Fulham 4 Arsenal 1. Pablo Meri will score an amazing backheel Rabona bicycle kick for Arsenal, and then Fulham will get 4 straight own goals that bounce off of Bird Leno's hands. We lose.
Why did you waste time making that?
The thing is, we did blow that game. I think we drew that game 1-1.
How long have you had that you've just never this is what I'm talking about. Dude's got just so much shit that
he tells me he's busy all the time. Right now, man, I'm so fucking busy, and then this shit pops up all over the place. And to be honest with you, when England fans were coming out and saying it's coming home, it's in the chat already, and people are saying it and everything like that. I was saying to myself, nonsense. Every game I've watched for them, they've been absolutely terrible. They haven't been very good whatsoever. I think that Gareth Southgate is a horrible manager, absolutely horrible. And for me as well, and take this as an unbiased view, someone who has watched England for a long, long time and watches them on a regular basis, I often think that England's biggest problem is that their players walk out onto the pitch automatically thinking that they have the game won before a ball's even kicked. I think that they have a mentality issue. And for me, to overcome that is very difficult when you've got a bunch of prima donnas who think that they're the best players in the world. But look,
I agree with what you're saying, but it is coming home. Wembley, and then a game against Sweden or Ukraine, and then 2 more games at Wembley. I don't care.
Yes, England is going to get hammered by Germany. Yeah, hammered.
If they were hammered. Hammered by Germany.
The only thing that got hammered that weekend was fucking Conor McGregor's ankle.
What, do you just think all Irish people have an allegiance to other Irish people?
No, I'm saying all Irish people have weak ankles.
Yeah, we've seen it with your daughter.
A fair point.
Yeah, we've seen it with your little one. All right.
And weak shoulders, apparently. Anything that's on the body is just fucked if you're
Are there no rheumatologists or like orthopedic people in Ireland whatsoever? Because you guys are just like soft tissue mofos.
Fly over, I'll put you under the knife, we can get you fixed.
Owen's family's favorite football club is Soft Tissue FC. But all right, so Owen and your small pool table, your out of work pool table. Where can we find you this week? Are you still off of social media? Are we done?
I'm thinking about coming back on Twitter just to fuck people off. I might go in there with like a no holds barred attitude and just drop bombs
and just go until you end up like Wayne and just get fucking canceled for the 84th time.
Yeah.
Like Wayne. All right, Andy. Fantastic to see you again. I love you. I appreciate your finally letting me know where I stand after that dream. I knew I could count on you for that. Hopefully, we'll see you more throughout the summer and the new season. Steve, are you in a position to play us out, my friend?
I'm not really. I haven't got a lead up here.
Just give it. It's fine. Just hold it to the mic and strong man. It's the effort that matters.
I just want to highlight how talented you are. But if you want me to hold,
can we all be quiet? Be quiet for 5 seconds and let him play something quick.
I don't know what to play.
Just play something. Doesn't matter. Just play something.
Play like a Gooners versus Cancer kind of song. I don't know what that would be, but
I tell you what I did do recently. I obviously Lee Judges started his new channel a month or so ago, and the little intro and theme music to that is this guy.
Oh, I was just going to say you should do one for us, but now that you've done it for Lee Judges, that's fucking cold.
I can. I mean, we can talk.
But listen,
all of the Gooners versus Cancer money is now going to go to Steve to create this new.
You know what?
Yes, don't have to set up a GoFundMe this year.
No, Steve, the only way this is going to work is if we get exclusive rights to Lee Gunner's intro music, because that's the only way we can backstab that song.
But you said Lee Gunner, not Lee Judge.
What? The same person. Lee Gunner. Are they different people? Are they different people?
Lee Judge.
Does he have intro music? Is it just him just
Lee
being
Gunner
a
is a
dick?
cunt. Like, yeah. No. So I did Lee's music. Obviously, if you look online, Big Steve Artist, you'll find me.
Absolutely, and go to Big Steve Artist on Twitter. Go to check out Lee's new channel. We're massively supporting it, and no good deed goes unpunished.
We love Lee Judges. We love him to death.
We do. No good deed goes unpunished, and the good deed of you joining our podcast with 15 minutes notice is that we're now putting you on the spot. I'm putting you in the solo layout, and you're going to play us out. Thank you, all the Gooners that are watching this in the chat. Thank you to everybody. We will be posting content from Orlando, from the No Partey, We Still Partey, and to play us out, Steve Warrington. Hey.
Just any Spice Girls is good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any Spice Girls.
Westlife.
One Direction.
What about Justin Bieber? Yeah, that's Girls Aloud.
There has to be singing.
Oh, okay.
Owen has weak
podcast.
shoulders. Owen has weak shoulders.
I don't know.
Mike is mentally ill.
Mike, don't forget to eat your soup.
I'm so on the spot. I can't do it.
Just play a bed. Just play some musical bed, and then Owen and Andy and I will do the lyrics. You just wasted a lot of your time. An hour and 40 minutes. You probably should have rethought that before you got online.
Mark, play Sweet Scallop Chocolate, man.
All right. This has been the Gooners podcast. We love you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Andy. And thanks to the chat for joining us.
Hey, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Alyssa, because I know in like the next 30 minutes she's going to meet you and you become her problem. And I want to apologize for Mike's family and for the Gooner podcast in advance.
She's with Ryan, so like there's no concern about like do I need protection type of situation from this guy.
No, yeah. I just know that she is gonna. You're her burden now, and I know what that is. And I'm sorry that you're about to meet Merlot Mike in person.
Well, cheers. I will be in 10 minutes. I will be in the lobby downstairs, probably just doing the worm on the floor, and that's what I'm going to do. So
you're going to be doing that move where you chase your head.
I actually can do the worm. That's a fun fact.
All right. Let's move the camera and let's see it.
I could kick myself in the head up until a few years ago.
Hey, Steve, Steve, you let us down with the guitar playing, so move the camera and let's get the worm going.
Kick yourself in the fucking head, Steve.
I can't now. Mate, let me lose another 95 pounds.
We have to salvage the situation.
Let me lose another 95 pounds and I'll fucking do it. I'll stand outside in my boxers and I'll kick myself in the head.
We'll have a breakdancing concert for next year's Gooners versus Cancer. All right. Come on, you Gooners.